Welcome to Scorched Earth. This is going to be a general mid-month reading for the sign of Aquarius, Sun, Moon and Ascendant. If you don't know what your Moon or Ascendant signs are, have a look in the description box below. There's a link down there that will help you. And then you should come back and watch the videos for your Moon and Ascendant signs, because sometimes we resonate with those better than with our Sun sign. Now, thank you to all those people who continue to subscribe. And for the new subscribers, I hope you find something here for you. Thank you for your comments, your likes, your shares, your donations, messages. I've had some really wonderful messages from people, and it's really nice to feel connected on that level with a lot of you. So I hope you're all keeping well. Because this is a mid-month reading, I'm just going to pull 3 cards for where you are right now. 3 cards for what's coming towards you, and 3 cards for advice, because I like 3s and multiples thereof. So yeah, that's how I tend to do things. Right, let's have a look. What's Aquarius energy doing right now? Whoa, okay, that's interesting. We've got the 8 of Cups and Temperance. The 8 of Cups has come out upside down, but I'm not sure if it meant to. I'm going to leave it there for a second. Let's see. 2 more cards for Aquarius, please. Whoa, 6 of Fire. It's the 6 of Wands in a standard deck. It's pretty good. And let's get one more. What's Aquarius energy doing right now? There it is, 4 of Fire. Interesting. So, I'm going to go with this not meaning to go the right way up, to be the wrong way up, to be honest, because looking at the cards as they lie here, I think it just kind of spun in midair. And this makes more sense to me this way around anyhow. So, the first card that you've got is the 8 of Oceans in this deck, right? It's the 8 of Cups. And it came out with Temperance, which is Sagittarian energy. And one that I'm seeing a lot for all of the signs at the moment, have been doing for the last 6-7 weeks, something like that. Now, if you're not dealing with a Sagittarius, and I kind of don't think that you are, this is healing off the back of something that you've turned your back on, right? Something that's, you know, emotionally not serving you anymore. I think that's the way the other tarot readers like to put it. In the standard depiction, there's a chap walking off in, under the light of the eclipse, and he's got a cloak on and his walking boots and a stick, and he's just turned his back on these cups and he's moving away. In this one, all we have is an octopus, but it's headed off. It's disappearing. The octopus is a very smart animal. You know, they reckon that your standard octopus has the intelligence level of like a 5-year-old child or something like that. They're great problem solvers as well. And it's interesting that it's come up for you, because I associate Aquarius with that problem-solving mind, because you're very good at seeing the big picture. You don't tend to get stuck in detail about things. You kind of just follow that guiding star, which is your card. But it feels like you chose to turn your back on something. You realised that it wasn't fulfilling you in any kind of meaningful sense. And now you're allowing yourself a small period of healing off the back of it. If you are dealing with a Sagittarius, then it's quite possible that this is who you've moved away from. But you'll have to take it as it resonates to you. Now, the next card that you've got is the 6 of Fire. That's the 6 of Wands in a standard deck. And it's a card of Leo, but it talks about victory. It talks about success. And not only that, it's not quiet victory and quiet success. It's triumphant, right? It's a phoenix rising in this card. And the 6s, following on from the 5s as they do, where 4 is a foundational energy, right? It's where you built on everything in the ace and the 2 and the 3, and you create the corners, the framework of your existence. The 5s come in and they kind of bomb that. The 6 is you moving away, right? There's always movement implied with a 6 card. And we've already got some level of movement, some level of healing, and a sense that you did the right thing, right? Not only do you know that you did the right thing, but you're also feeling pretty fucking pleased about it, right? This is a good energy for you to be in. The final card that you've got for your current energy is the 4 of Fire. Now, do you remember how I just said we were talking about foundational stuff with the 4s? The word that always comes to mind for me when I see the 4 of Wands or the 4 of Fire or whatever it is home, right? It's home. Because it's our foundation, because it's our cornerstones, it's friends and it's family, it's those people that we choose to keep around us because they add value to our existence, right? But it can be more than that as well. It can be a sense of our own values, right? And I find it really interesting that it's come off the back of the 6 of Fire, because it feels like this is a restatement of your fundamental values, of your foundational energy. It's almost like you've moved away from things that don't serve you. You've moved away from those things that, if something's in your existence and it's not emotionally fulfilling you, then at best it's neutral. At worst, it's actually draining your energy away from you. And I feel like this Victory card here, right, is because you identified the fact that this was a drain, right? So now you're going through a healing process, right? You're feeling better about the whole situation because there's that pulling back of your own energy, and you're kind of restating your boundaries. You're restating what home means to you. You're reinstating your foundation, but better than it was before, because you've removed these things that were draining you away from it. I notice at the bottom of the deck we've got the 10 of Swords, and that's, that can talk about betrayal and, hitting rock bottom and humiliation and all those kind of things. But it's about bringing things to an end, right? And there's obviously been something that you've identified that needs to end, and you've moved away from it, right? Done the thing. And now you've kind of rebuilt your foundation using only those things that are actually adding value to your life, adding, emotional value to your life. I really like that. So let's have a look and see what's coming towards Aquarius for the last 2 weeks of April, please. What's coming towards Aquarius? Ooh. That's interesting. That's going to... Now, at the bottom of the deck now, we've got the Hermit. And I feel like that works energetically really well with the energy that you're in at the moment, because there's been a shift, because there's been a move away, and we've got movement all over this, right? Almost like a reconsecration of your values and your emotional well-being and those things that constitute home to you. There's a certain amount of inner work that's gone along with it. And this Hermit card is fierce. Look at that, right? There's no bearded old man just kind of, shuffling along in a cave looking for the answers. This is a full-on kind of beast. This is a blast of enlightenment, right? You've had about something. Directly underneath that, we've got the 3 of Skies, which is the 3 of Swords in your deck. And it's almost like you've identified some internal wounding, or you're about to identify some internal wounding. And then the first card that we've got for what's coming towards you is another card of movement away. It's the 6 of Skies, which is the 6 of Swords in a standard deck. All these birds in flight on there, right? Just as I was saying, the 6s are movement. They're moving away from things. It's like whatever it is that you identify in this little internal blast of light that you have. And I love the fact that it's green, because green is the colour of the heart chakra, you know. And the Three of Swords is generally depicted with a big heart in the middle, with the swords through the middle of it. And it's almost like you're kind of blasting through any old wounds that you've got. And it feels a little bit like a power-up, actually, Aquarius. I really like it. But we've got more movement. We've got more moving away from difficult situations. And I really do feel like this is what you're moving away from. This energy here, right? With this big explosive blast of love kind of just like throwing through the middle of it. Like, it's an explosion. It feels like an explosion, right? And it's fascinating because the next card that you've got is the King of Swords, and that's your card, right? That's Aquarius. You're moving away from the Three of Swords energy, the wounding, the heartbreak, you know, with this flash of insight, this brilliant green flash of insight that you have, and towards you, right? You're right in the center of it. It's kind of like it's leaving shit behind and rediscovering you in the process. Now, the final card for what's coming towards you is the Three of Earth. Now, that's the card of working together, right? It's with other people. And usually building something really solid that will last, right? It's a card of teamwork and collaboration and cooperation often, right? And it seems like there's an opportunity coming up for you very soon where you will be able to work with someone to create something. Now, I find it interesting that we've got this... We've got so much movement and so much kind of restructuring. And it feels like restructuring. And then moving forwards to build yet more. It's almost like the energy that you're in at the moment and the foundational stuff that you've been doing is allowing you to move forwards to create something better, bring something better to the planet. Now let's have a look. This is Three of Earth here for. Fucking cards throwing out all over here. We've got the Wheel of Fortune and Judgment and the Emperor. Right? I'm not going to take them because they've all fallen to the right, but they do seem relevant. You know, this has been a bit of a life lesson for you, a kind of lesson within a lesson. It's not the end of a cycle, but you certainly passed a checkpoint with it, and things are going to pick up now, right? Because you've moved those things away from you that were draining you. And possibly some of that was the judgment of other people. Maybe some of that was wounding that you were carrying in your heart because of the judgment in the past of other people. But there's a sense of you really getting on top of your shit now because we've got the Emperor here. Let's try that again, see if we can't get some proper jumpers. There's the Three of Earth here for Aquarius. Oh, here we go. Queen of Swords. Right, that's fascinating because on the very card that we've got that talks about cooperation, collaboration, you're working together with someone else, teamwork, building something, we have got your counterpart appearing here. Now, those are from the same suit. That's King and Queen of the same suit, and they don't have to be men, they don't have to be women. These are just the masculine energies, which is you, Aquarius, and the feminine side of your air energy, which is the Queen here. Now, it could be another air sign, right? So it could be a Libra or a Gemini or another Aquarius. That's possible. For me, that's strictly Libra. But this is a meeting of minds, right? And I don't think it even necessarily has to be another air sign. This is just somebody who gets you. This is somebody who understands how you work, and someone who is able to match you in mental dexterity and vision and clarity of thought, clarity of expression, and logic and reason and rationality, right? All of those things that the air signs, you know, are really famous for. I just need one more card. I'm going to go with a John Bauer before I speak about those there. Seven of Swords and the Seven of Wands. Why is sevens here? Temperance at the bottom of the deck again now. But right here, we've got the Seven of Swords and the Seven of Wands. Now, sevens are very spiritual numbers, right? There's the Fours are the foundation, and the Five is that blowing up, it's that shift, it's that energy change, right? Conflict, difficult circumstances. Then the Sixes are moving away from this. The Seven is kind of like a processing of everything that's gone before, and in some ways a kind of spiritual evolution up, right? Actually, was there not some notion of collaboration in your last reading? I'm sure that there was. It was something like that, but I think it was a fire sign that appeared there. But again, the signs aren't really that important. What is important is that this collaboration is upcoming, and there's something quite profound about not only the meeting of minds, but the result of you two putting your heads together in some ways, because we have yet again another seven. This time it's the Seven of Pentacles, right? The Seven of Pentacles is the status quo for me, right? It's a situational report. It's talking about looking at, you know, the circumstances as they currently, you know, sit, and working out whether you want to put more effort into this or whether you want to remove your effort from this or change the way that you want to do something about it, right? It's sometimes a card of waiting, and it's sometimes a card of being static, but I'm not getting that from you. You know, this feels like the burgeoning of something new, because the other card that we've got is the Magician, Aquarius, right? And it's almost like, you know, you've got this 777 behind you with the Magician, and it's like you're going to be able to work together with someone else to produce actually fucking pure magic. Truth be told, this collaboration is really, really important, but it changes the status quo. It's something worth fighting for. It's something worth bringing into the world, and it's something that's going to heal you now. And maybe not just you, actually. I feel like there't a broader sense of it here. I've been waffling in the other fixed signs videos about how there seems to be either, you know, kind of little ascensions, which is like what's going on with Taurus at the moment. Leo had a massive, very protracted period of being utterly destroyed and having to rebuild over the course of a couple of years, you know, but they're really hitting their stride now, and they know that something is coming, right? I've known this since New Year, and a lot of Leos that I've spoken to have the same feeling. Something big is coming, and they are being called to play their part as a collective energy, as a sign, right? They're coming to deal with whatever is coming next. Taurus need to fix a few things about them, the way that they think and the way that they treat themselves and stuff like that, because I feel like their broad shoulders are going to be supporting the rest of the zodiac in some way. And I've said in a number of other videos that Aquarius has needed to take their eyes off the detail and keep them firmly pointed at the horizon, because you are the visionaries, right? You see the future, and fuck, we are moving into the age of Aquarius, so you are required more than ever. All of which is a roundabout way of saying whatever you fix in yourself, so you fix in your vision for the future, right? And that's why I feel like this is really, really profound, like this underlying theme for the entire reading. And I find it interesting that I used this particular deck to clarify, and this is the deck that the Seven of Swords has come out with, right? Because usually it talks about deception and all that sort of thing, but I'm looking at the symbols that are on this card for me, and what you've got is an arrangement of 3 swords that look like the 3 of Swords, exactly as I described, but you've got 4 swords around the outside, and it's almost like where the 4 of Swords is the meditation, right? It's the break, it's the stepping back, it's the recovery phase. It's almost like a lower echo of the Temperance card in some ways, right? The way that this is presented, yeah, from this distance, this could be the 3 of Swords, but it's not, right? we've got the meditation, we've got the break, we've got the mental space for recovery around the edge, and then we've got these 3 swords in the middle. And I think that's what I had there when I just said it there. It's like when you're an empath and a tarot reader at the same time, sometimes the reason that we talk so much is because you don't really see what the interpretation is until you say it. And once you said it, like you kind of, your internal tuning fork starts going like that, you know, and you're like, that's it, that's the one. And this is what it feels like. It's like whatever you are healing in yourself at the moment, whatever you've been indulging with, has wider implications for everybody else, right? It's you collectively as a sign fixing this will allow you to fix your vision for the future. And big changes are coming, big shifts are coming, right? Great Awakening 2020 and all that sort of thing. But astrologers have been getting a boner over this year for fucking years, right? They've been waiting for this. And so everything that they've said is coming to pass. There are more shifts happening. You know, Saturn's moving around and doing crazy things as well. But magician, right? This is about transmutation of your vision into reality. And it's really, really important. You know, this honestly could just be calling in your fucking tribe. That's the way I see that. Right. This video is going to be shorter than the other ones that I've done for the fixed signs, but I feel like no less profound for that. A little less fluffing around with the details, because it's almost like there's a little less work for you to do than there is for Taurus. Like you've put yourself in the right place for it already, whereas Taurus is still kind of struggling with a few things. And Leo's just champing at the bit, just ready to go. We've been ready for a while. And she said in the Leo video that I thought it was going to broadside people a little bit, because although us kind of witchy spiritual types have known that this was coming for a while and we've been feeling it building, the energy building and stuff like that, I kind of assumed that that was just for those people for whom spirituality is kind of like a 24/7 thing. But the responses that I'm getting from the Leos for whom this, you know, that isn't necessarily the case, is exactly the same. It is that they have felt that there is something coming, and they have felt that there is something that they are here to do. And I am seeing this exactly here with you again. Right? Fixed signs, power up. So let's get you some advice. 3 cards of advice for Aquarius, please. How are you? Right, the first card that you've got is 9 of Skies. That's the 9 of Swords, right? Don't panic about that. I'm going to talk about it in a second. I just want to get another 2 cards because I am a stickler for these multiples of 3. Ooh, I just got chills with that one. How interesting that I should have just been banging on at length about Leo, and there Leo is at the bottom of the deck, right? That's the Sun. It's the most positive card in the deck. It is also the card of Leo. More than that, it's kind of the card of evolved Leo, right? The Leos that have done the work. But it's also your opposite sign in the zodiac, right? And that's really important because you two affect each other energetically. And you tend to find, you know, what one sign is experiencing, so their opposite is kind of getting some of the reflected energy back off that as well, right? You kind of power yourselves up, both of you. Power each other up, rather. So the first card that you've got is the 9 of Skies, right? A fucking impending meteor impact there. Don't panic about that. The advice here with this card is do not overthink anything, right? There's a time for intellect, there's a time for rationality, there's a time for a logic and all that kind of thing, but you are being guided by something a little higher now, and you need to differentiate the difference between using your your really sharp 3D intellect that sits here in your brain and the higher stuff that comes to you from the star and stuff like that, that vision of things, because they're not exactly the same. Your 3D brain is what processes that information that you bring in. And so if it feels a little bit like it's becoming obsessive thinking, step back from it, right? Detach from that a little bit and just let yourself feel instead. You've done all of this work bursting through, from the heart. And maybe a little bit of meditation on the heart chakra might be the thing, and a little less of up here. The card that absolutely gave me the chills is Justice, and this came out very strongly for Leo yesterday as well, right? And it can talk about contracts and legal proceedings and all that kind of thing, but honestly, like, we're fucking beyond that. That's 3D bullshit, and Aquarius, like, we're not on that level anymore, right? This is bigger than that. There's a sense of karma with this that can't be ignored, but it's funny, like, she's this big sort of angel thing wielding a sword, right? She looks very serious. And obviously, being Justice, she's an air sign card. She's strictly Libra, right? But I'm just looking at the sun at her back there. It's like you two are crossing over again. There is balance going to be brought, right? There is justice going to be brought. There's a new way of seeing things, right? As a card of advice, it would obviously talk about acting only with integrity, but also keeping an eye, an ear, a heart on those higher ideals, right? That Aquarius are all about. You're the humanitarian of the zodiac, and so particularly with moving into the age of Aquarius, this is a time where we need that expansive thinking. We need that vision. But we need to keep it human as well, right? We need to keep that connection with others. It's not moving forward for forward's sake. It's moving forwards in the right way. And then we've got the Two of Earth, which is another card of balance, right? It's another card of kind of juggling things. But in this card, there's two foxes, and they look like something's just caught their eye in the brush. Both of them are pounced and ready, and it's just like, it feels like, look at those foxes down there. I don't know how well the camera's picking it up, but it feels like it's asking you to be ready, because something's in the bushes, right? And you're gonna know about it. The interesting thing is, right, this deck, I love this deck. If you've seen the walkthrough of it, then this won't come as a surprise to you, but it's the Lost Forest, and the entire minor arcana actually lines up to make a story, picture story all the way through, right? They all fit together. You've got the Three of Earth, you've got the collaboration, the teamwork, all that sort of thing. It's almost like you are putting in the groundwork already for everything else, because everybody else is going to catch up with you soon, right? Keep it balanced. Keep everything balanced, including your own mind, right? Balance, overthinking, unbalanced, right? Avoid that. Do these is what I'm going to go with there. Right, so I'm going to leave it there, Aquarius. But if it resonated, I would really love it if you'd let me know. You need a little less guidance, I feel, than certainly Taurus or Scorpio do. Leo's probably sitting about where you are as well. So That's good. In fact, the King of Fire, King of Wands, is underneath there as well. That's Leo, right? You've got double Leo. Leo's got you back. All right. So if you've got any Leos in your life, maybe they're who you're collaborating with, but I'm just waffling now, so I'm going to go. I'll leave it there, and I'll see you soon.